This is a question for everyone on the panel. Maybe you can share a bit about how the pandemic affected your collection or your collecting practice. Jay, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so before COVID, I traveled a lot for so many different art fairs to see new works and the works that I already know. But since the COVID, I couldn't really travel to other countries. So since then, I had to collect art based on images and or phone calls, videos, and pictures. And that's definitely a big change. I think for everybody will be the same. And but since last November, I started to go out again. Started with Tokyo and then Miami and Singapore. So hopefully it gets back to the normal. But besides that, I don't think there's a big change for me. Maybe it's because I strongly focus on young artists and yeah, I don't see a big change besides that for me.
Okay. Kevin?
I think it's definitely changed the way I've consumed art. With the pandemic, I was stuck at home for 2-3 years, and everything was on my phone, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, on iMessage, and everything I consumed was digital. So I was buying online through PDFs, works that I've never seen before. Most of the transactions were based off of online. But now that, the pandemic is almost over, just to echo what Jay said, I've been going to Miami, I was in Singapore, and, I was in Tokyo as well. So hopefully the travel will resume and things will get back to normal.
Ning, do you want to go next?
I think during the pandemic, there were all these virtual fairs, virtual viewing rooms, which we logged in a couple of times. But honestly, it's very hard to appreciate the work, the sensibility, the aesthetic. So that was a real challenge. And then not to mention, technical glitches or technical problems like what Koji experienced, like when suddenly the screen hangs and you can't move to the other gallery. So the truth is, or at least for us, what happened was we started to really go back to our local galleries because they also need help, right? Everyone's suffering. And they were still putting out shows, maybe not as frequently. Certainly, they were putting out physical shows, and they would send, PDFs and images across. So we actually, I would say, because I'm thinking back the last few years, we actually bought quite a bit of works by local artists, whether young, mid-career artists. And my dad is constantly on social media. And I noticed that he was buying prints online via, Instagram, very much Instagram, because he like if he likes certain artists, and then on your Instagram page you can really see the whole portfolio, your entire output, all your activity. So because I asked him before, and he said it gives me a very good sense of what they've done before, and I can DM them, I get a reply, like the next day or instantly. Everyone's on the ball on the phone. And these were not super expensive, to be honest. They were maybe a couple of hundred to like 1,000, 2,000 USD or euros. And then it would come in a tube, very low cost, and then we would frame it in Singapore. And also, they typically came in this size, which is the picture size, of Instagram. You don't get some weird long painting or long print. They're all like nice square images. So it's quite interesting. But now, as COVID measures have eased up and travel restrictions are lifted, we're very open now. We are traveling. I call it revenge travel, revenge shopping. It's pent up demand. But I think we will still want to support the local emerging artists from Singapore, because that's very much at the core of what we actually that's very much the core of our collection as well.
Do you think the pent-up demand, the revenge traveling and the revenge spending is easing now, is getting lesser now in terms of buying art? Since you raised that point, Ning.
I don't think so. People have reserves. I think they want to go, they want to visit, like they planned out their calendar for the year. People, I don't know how, I mean, I can only speak for ourselves, but I don't know how other collectors go about when they make that decision. Do they allocate X amount for totally new artists, new names that they've never come across from new territories? And then do they reserve a certain amount to collect artists that they already have in their collection? Like this is something that we've done also, where you collect a work from a young artist new series every year or every other year when they produce a show, a solo show. So you actually have 3, 4, 5 pieces by the same artist. So it shows you that breadth, right? Because right now my dad is in Dubai, and I'm so curious whether he's going to buy anything from Dubai, which will be a first for us in terms of from that territory. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think people are their appetite for art is there for sure. I mean, if we're talking about serious art collectors, yes.
Yeah. Koji, how about you? Do you want to share how the pandemic affected your collecting practice or collection?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. Same as physically the same. It's less going to the galleries and the less chances of meeting artists and less traveling overseas. That's for sure. But since it's now coming down, I think I'm going to go out this year and next year. And as far as the works are concerned, at this point in time, the art pieces I collect, no change, pre or post pandemic. Having said that, this is my guess, is that some artists are creating the works at this time, having some influence of pandemic. So I may see some interesting pieces this year or the next year. I may collect those, but today, no change.
Okay, and so this is another question for everyone. I think this is something a lot of people are interested in, but don't necessarily get the chance to ask art collectors. So do you sell your works? And if you do, how do you go about doing so? Do you work with art advisors? Do you do it from your own art spaces? Maybe Kevin, you want to start us on this, since I know you mentioned the various art spaces that you have across the world as well.
Just to echo Ning from the last question about the pandemic, I think most people, were trapped in their homes and they were local. And so, the importance of having local art spaces is really important. And I think that was a really good point. And, but other than that, about, selling works, I think it really depends on a conversation you have to have with the artists and with the galleries that you purchase the works from. Obviously with so much speculation right now, a lot of the emerging artists, they have non-resale agreements with the galleries, and depending on if you're getting the work from the studio or from the galleries. And so I would say the best thing is, obviously talk with the gallery where you purchase the work. Obviously when you buy it, you're not, at least when I purchase works, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm gonna have a chance to sell this in mind, but obviously circumstances change. Maybe you're moving houses, or maybe you're having 2 or 3 more kids and you have no room. So I would say just check in with your gallerists, that purchased the work, and just check in with them to see, hey, like I bought this work, I have no place to put it now, or you want to, taste change, or you don't really want it anymore, and then check in with them. They usually give you the best advice on what to do, I would say.
Okay. And how about you, Jay? Do you prefer buying works at art fairs or art galleries?
Um, I I kind of like both because if I go to the galleries and there's an exhibition going on, so I can see more of a exhibition side of the artist, and you see different works and how it was curated by the curator and the artist together. But to talk about the art fair, it's more like a department store, I would say, that you can go to the art fair and you see so many galleries there and you see so many artists that you can't even remember after a day. And it's good to see many different artists at the same time in a short period of time. But to deeply know about the artist, I think you definitely need to go to a gallery or a museum exhibition to see the whole work of the artist. And I kind of enjoy both way of purchasing artworks.
I like that description you used of art fairs as department stores. That's very apt. So on that note, there's a question for everyone.